Hello everybody, welcome to Coco's Crochet. I'm Litsa, and if you've clicked on today because you're a knitting machine fan like I am, you've come to the right place. And today we're going to talk about the Addi Egg Knitting Machine. Just about this one. Now, up until recently, I've been predominantly a crocheter. So 95% of my makes are still crochet, but I have fallen in love with the knitting machines. And I have two of the Centro machines, but for Christmas I was gifted the Addi knitting machines, all three. So you can imagine my excitement. I haven't had a chance up until now to actually play with them. And today I thought, let me make an I-cord. Now we all know how handy that would be to make an I-cord as quickly as we could, turn the handle on a machine and make it. That was the appeal for me. I have tried crocheting an I-cord and it is a little bit, time consuming and a little bit hard on the hands. I also remember, which many of you might remember, the old school knitting machines, the French knitting machines. So here I have here a little selection for you just to remind you of what they were. So basically when I was growing up, we'd get one of my mum's old wooden spools from her cotton that she would sew with. My dad would put in some nails, so 4 nails, he'd hammer them in on the top, and then we would begin our journey with French knitting. If you were lucky enough to have a crochet hook, you were cheering. People were getting very creative. We were using safety pins and bobby pins and even paper clips. But we had so much fun. And it was a little bit time consuming, but I remember that we could create the longest I-cord that you can ever imagine until your yarn ran out. So as whatever size your skein or ball of yarn was, that's as long as you could make it. We didn't know what to make with it otherwise, but I thought, what an amazing, amazing little tool to have to create handles for bags. So that was predominantly why I bought it. And then I do know that people do use an I-cord, to get creative, and they make like things like hot pads and coasters. And you know what? I guess it's up to your imagination what you can make with them. So I'm coming to you very disappointed today, and I just had to share it with someone that actually cares enough to know what this little machine is all about. Now, that little French knitting machine that I just showed you here can be anywhere between $5 and $15 max. I don't think you'd be paying any more than that if you didn't want to make one of your own. Let's be real, you really could do that for next to nothing. But this little egg here, this little knitting machine here, and I'll show you the actual machine. I bought mine from the Knitting Co. for $56.25. Now that's Australian dollars, so it is quite a substantial amount of money. Now I was very lucky that my partner gifted me all 3 machines for Christmas, so I felt very, very privileged, very, very lucky, and I could not wait to get started. So today I have spent, I would say, at an absolute minimum, 3 hours trying to work out something that should take no time at all. So let me show you the little tiny little machine and how simple it is to put it together. That's not what my dilemma is. So here it is here, guys. When you receive it, it looks like that. So there it is there. It has 6 needles on top, and the legs literally snap on. So there's 4 legs, and this is the little booklet that comes with it. It's tiny writing, but it's very simple. It gives you the instructions, very clear. Snap them on the feet, and then the handle is here, and it very, very simply fits into that little slot, and then you can crank it. But I won't now because I've got some yarn in there. And that's where the frustration comes in. Now, there is also a little dome that sits on top, and there is a little piece here that's missing. See, there's a little, I'm not sure how well you can see that because it is clear, but there you can see there's a cutout, and that actually sits here where the yarn is fed through, because that's meant to be your tension holder. So let's just pop it on for fun, because let me tell you, very few people recommend that you use it. So it just snaps on as simply as that, and it's meant to help with your tension. Now, because it is such a lightweight little tiny machine, you do get the egg component. So this here is actually a weight. It has a little hook, as you can see there, and you tie your yarn around it, and that sits at the bottom of your work. As you can see there, it just hangs over your tabletop, and then as your piece or your I-cord grows, you put, like, you can hook this up higher and higher, and it keeps the material that you're making or the I-cord stretched out, and so that it kind of balances itself out so that it can actually grow. Now, let me tell you, I tried this with and without. Now, when I went on and saw some YouTube tutorials on it, because I'm not a person that actually pretends to know how to use these machines, there's very little in here that guides you onto, you know, what you need to do to actually get started. Without having a visual, I'm not very good. And yes, these are visuals, but it's very, very different seeing someone doing it and reading it. Well, that's how I operate anyway. So I saw the shortest video that I could, which was a 3.5-minute video, and that wasn't a speaking one, but it was quite nice. It did, you know, show me how to clip in the feet, because you worry, you think, am I going to snap this? Can it be that easy? And then you think, wow, this is going to be a fun journey, because it's as simple as snapping the legs in. The handle fits in, although it doesn't lock in. That's another thing. It doesn't lock in when you pop it in here. It actually can come out quite easily. So that was another little thing that I was concerned about. But when I watched that video, she did, the person who had done the tutorial, or, you know, the YouTube video, did a lovely job. And the one thing that they said was, when you pull it down, like even when you start at the very beginning, to pull it down from here, because obviously there's no I-cord growing, to make sure that, you know, your yarn was behind these little red bits there. They're not actually needles. So that was, you know, another thing that I thought, oh, okay, that's interesting. I wonder why. There are 6 needles, as we said. None of them are coloured, but somewhere in here, and I really don't want to play with it very much, but I will. Okay, so I've put some permanent marker on that one, purple, of course. You can use black, you can use any colour. You don't even have to use a colour, but that's a nice way of recognising where your starting point is. There is no row counter. So that's a good way to keep track if you have to make more than one handle. Because as I said at the start, predominantly what I want to make I-cords for is for handles for bags. And this was I hoping to achieve today, so I could actually finish a project that I've been sitting on for ages, knowing that I had my little Addi Egg machine waiting to make an I-cord. So I thought, wait a minute, I'm going to watch another couple of YouTube videos from another few people that I actually watch, and I love their tutorials, because I do have a playlist on knitting machine makes, because like I said, it's something I'm experimenting with and I'm absolutely loving. So I did go and watch a few more, and then they gave us some more tips. So now we had to get our loom out. Not loom, what's this thing called? I do know what it's called. It's a loom hook. Not a loom hook. So if you're not familiar with that, it helps you pick up stitches when you're doing, you know, beanies and that, or scarves if you drop a stitch, and it helps you to actually make, use it for different things like ribbing and that. I'm far away from all of that, but I have watched enough YouTube tutorials to know that's what it's used for. And it's also used for, you know, if you want to drop stitches and make certain patterns and things. But they've asked us to use this to make sure that this stitch here, so when the stitch, let me do it so you can see it. Over here, you've got to make sure that there's a little red bit there in front of the needle, that your stitch is always under there. And I thought, okay, maybe it's just for the start. They said, don't use your handle, just rotate it using the little knob, and make sure that you use your loom hook, and make sure that every single stitch is under that little red bit. So now we're looking at this and we're making sure that they're under here, that they're under there. So there's nothing really less time consuming with this machine than the original French knitting little spool that we had when we were growing up. But I thought, that's okay, let's persevere. We're learning, it's a new skill, and I do get excited when I learn a new skill and I follow everything to the letter. So I did that. And they did say that these little machines don't really like worsted weight yarn, like the thicker yarn, and they're happier with the DK weight yarn, or the 8-ply here in Australia. So I got my worsted weight yarn out, and I got my DK weight. Originally I wanted to make it in the DK weight because that's the same as the bag, but I was happy to use the 10 ply or the worsted weight or number 4 weight yarn if it's what the machine liked. And also I wanted a stronger cord. That's what it was all about, so I could have a nice handle for my bag. Okay, are you ready for this? So we're not allowed to use the dome either, they said, because it's, well, they recommend, most of them recommend, do not use the dome because you want to be able to be in control of the stitches. Wait till I tell you what I ended up doing to try to get some control. It is hilarious. So we've put the dome away, we've put the handle away. We're quite, vigilantly looking at what we're doing. I did also have to find out how to cast on because it wasn't very clear from the booklet. And thankfully that it was very easy for me to follow with every YouTube tutorial that I saw. So that was really, really good. So again, you need your loom tool. You need to raise up, your yarn, hook it in and out. If any of you have a knitting machine, you know that you go in and out of the needles when you first cast on. And I did see how to cast off. Again, a very similar way to when you're making a beanie, for example. So that was all very, very clear. It's the in-between part. It's trying to get this I-cord to look like an I-cord, guys. Okay, so are you ready? So we had the worsted weight yarn, number 4 or a 10 ply yarn. So this one is 100% acrylic. This one goes through the larger knitting machine, and I'm sure this size too, because I haven't used this one yet, beautifully when I'm making beanies, for example. Thankfully, I had a pair of scissors next to me because this is what happened. It looks like it's been chewed. I actually had to cut out all the top, even though I was looking at it quite vigilantly. And when I got to this bit here, I thought, oh, it's a little bit lumpy and bumpy, but it seems to be working. So I took my eyes away from it and even dared to put on the dome. What was I thinking, guys? And then all of a sudden it stopped cranking, which was a huge alert to stop because I did not want to snap the needles. So this is what happened. So I would say, pow, it does not like worsted weight yarn. Well, not this one anyway. And then I thought, let's use the DK weight. Excuse me, I do have a bit of a frog in my throat. DK weight or 8 ply yarn, 100% acrylic, very smooth, very similar to the other one, but the thickness was a lot less, and hopefully that this little machine was going to be happy with it. So this was my first attempt. Here it was starting to kind of smooth out, but then again it was dropping stitches. But look at this, there was no way that I could actually take this out and use it on my bag. So I was very, very disappointed that with this version, I didn't put the dome on, I didn't put the handle on, excuse me, and I was very vigilant when I was using the loom hook to make sure that all the stitches were down. So that was very frustrating, but I thought, no, don't give up. Obviously, you're learning here. Let's continue to learn. Do not give up. I thought third time lucky for sure, guys. But look at this disaster. Look at this. Doesn't matter how much I stretch it out, because I know you need to stretch this out. It is very, very like loose in some areas. Look, it's very tight over there, and it was starting to snag at the top. And I thought, I'm not going to break this machine. I obviously need to practice more, but I was getting very, very frustrated and very sad because I really wanted to make this I-cord. I wanted to conquer this machine. Some of the YouTube channels that I was watching were saying how you can color change and you can do all this with it. And then, as I said, make other projects with the actual cord itself. And the other thing that I was surprised about, and maybe you've come across that too if you've got one yourself, I thought it would have been a much tighter, much sturdier fabric than what it is. I haven't used cotton. I don't know how that would fare in one of these machines, because I do think that cotton is a lot splittier, and this actually splits, even when you hook it up with a loom hook. So I didn't take it out because I wanted to show you that, I did try 3 times. Like, look at that. Oh my goodness. It is so uneven. It just makes me sad. Now, I will continue to try, and I hope to be able to bring you an I-cord that looks the way that it should. If it's me, guys, and you have one of these little tiny eggs from Addi, the little Addi machines here, and you can give me your tips and tricks, please do so. I even got so desperate that I was putting my finger down the middle to make sure that the stitches were sitting underneath this bit here, while I was hyper focused on making sure that the front stitches were underneath where they were meant to be. I was taking off the weight and I actually hooked it up a little bit higher, but then I thought, oh my goodness, what if that's what's making it like I don't know, I just kept thinking, what's going wrong? Was that the reason why I wasn't, you know, doing what it was meant to do? So I tried it without, and then I thought, oh, I really don't want to put the weight up too high up, because I didn't want it to make holes in the material either. So that is where I'm at with this little Egg Addi knitting machine. I'm very, very frustrated. I'm very, very sad, but I am not giving up. So I hope to bring you something that does not look like this in the future. It looks maybe a lot more like this section here. There's the difference, guys, between the two weights as well, just so you know. This is the 10 ply or the worsted weight, and this is the DK weight here. I just can't believe what happened to this one. I'm so grateful that I didn't break the machine. So that's it. I came on to share my frustration with you. I came on to ask for any assistance if some of you have something that can guide me to get this working. Like I said, I'm not a person that just jumps in and pretends to know what I'm doing. I actually do my research. So I am open to all suggestions. If you've got one of these, please email me, put it down in the comments. You'll be helping others as well. So hopefully, fingers and toes crossed, I mastered this. I think I need to walk away from it today because I'm just a little bit too frustrated and cranky, and I don't like feeling like that. So like I said, I will walk away. I will give it another go, and another go if I need to, because I need to work out how to use this little machine. If you use a particular yarn and you have had success with it, please share. I've come to that point where, you know, if I even had to buy it, I would, because I need to get use out of this machine, and I have so many projects that I want to use it for, predominantly bags. And like I said, there is one little bag that's been sitting here now for months, and I knew that I would be getting this, well, not for months, it's been sitting here maybe for a month, but I've had these sitting here for over a month, so I've just wanted to finish that. So now I'm going on and on, because as you can see, I'm very frustrated and excited. So I hope you've had a nice day today and your experiences were a little bit better than mine. So watch this space. Hopefully I will conquer the egg knitting machine from Addi. So until I see you all very, very soon, take care, everyone. Bye-bye for now.